Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've watched one of my videos before, thank you for coming back. And if you're a subscriber, I really appreciate you kind of helping and supporting a small growing YouTube channel. But regardless, thank you to all of you who tuned in today. As per usual, my name is Marmy Newton, and today I will be talking about the new Netflix TV show Nobody Wants This, which is a very funny title for the show because I feel like that's all anybody wants to talk about this entire week, between last week and this week since it dropped, because this show immediately went to the top 10 of Netflix's movies for the week, and a lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people in my life, daily life, have been talking about it, and a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube have also been talking about it. So I feel like everybody wants the show, even though the show is called Nobody Wants This. But yeah. Anyway, to kind of get us started, I wanted to talk about the plot of the show really quickly. I feel like if you clicked on this video, you probably already know what the plot is about, but it's to keep it simple for anyone who doesn't know. The story is about it's a little bit of an opposites attract kind of story, where an non-religious woman who kind of lives her life, maybe in her 30s, early 40s, kind of lives her life kind of willy-nilly, is very, very much like, oh, this is energy, this is this. She's not like, she's the farthest thing from religion you can kind of imagine. And then there's the other guy who is Noah. The lady is played by Kristen Bell, and her name is Joanne. And then the guy is Noah, and he is played by Adam Brody. And Noah is a rabbi, and clearly he's very, very religious. Not religious in an orthodox kind of restrictive sense, just kind of, he's religious, and that's part of his personality and part of who he is, and that's kind of what it is. And the story is about kind of the romance between the two of them, or the stages of them kind of getting into a relationship, and having to confront the differences between the two of them, where he is religious and a rabbi, and she is not religious, agnostic, and very far from a rabbi. But yeah, so first off, let's delve into the chemistry between the two characters. I feel like Adam Brody and Kristen Bell do a very, very good job at keeping the viewers engaged in the story, because I feel like their chemistry is definitely the backbone of the show. You want to see if they end up together or not because of how good they, or how well they are positioning this love story, or their acting and chemistry is positioning this love story. I feel like it's positioning this love story. I also feel like the show just came out last week or this week, but it feels very, very recent. If someone had told me this show came out in 2019 or 2017 or something, I definitely would not have believed them. From the writing to the general atmosphere of it being set in LA and how LA feels like right now, and the references of the characters too, and the music they use, like the things that characters are talking about. I think Sasha, who is Noah's brother, definitely has an entire conversation with Morgan where he is talking about the Eras tour and Taylor Swift's many eras, or 11 eras. I feel like that's very, very 2024. It's very, very recent, and now I know the Eras tour started in 2023, but you know, it just feels very, very now. And then they also had references about Call Her Daddy, which is funny because when I first started watching the first episode and they talked about the ladies podcast, ladies being Morgan and Joanne, their podcast, I was kind of like, this kind of reminds me of Call Her Daddy by Alex Cooper. And it's so funny because by episode 2 they had referenced that, and we're like, we don't want to be a Call Her Daddy knockoff, or Nobody Wants This, which is the name of their podcast, shouldn't be a Call Her Daddy knockoff. And I was like, oh cool, so I hit the bullseye with that thought. I also feel like the music on the show, the music they used was very, very youthful and fun. I think it was very, very in line with the tone of the show, because they didn't try to kind of go with like secret indie music that I don't know, that sounds very good, and I don't know, to try to elevate the show or anything. They just kind of went for very, very basic, very, very recent, very much in the now kinds of pop songs. I think one of the songs they used was a Dua Lipa song. I can't remember which one, but they used a Dua Lipa song. They used two Olivia Rodrigo songs at least, because they used Brutal and they used Obsessed. Brutal is from the Sour album, and Obsessed is from the deluxe version of Guts, I think. So yeah, definitely very, very in the now. They also used a song by Haley Steinfeld called Love Myself, I think in the final episode or two, or in the ninth episode. I'm not sure, but that was very, 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 very fun. I also really enjoyed how they introduced Noah to us as a character. Just because I feel like if they had told us that he's a rabbi off the bat, we would have, or I mean, maybe I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the viewers could have kind of started concocting a notion of who he's supposed to be in their heads before actually meeting him. And it's fun that they just introduce him as a, as a person who ended up breaking up with his girlfriend Rebecca because she's not romantic enough, or he just feels like that's not his soulmate. And then yeah, so they introduce him as a man to us just kind of going through something, and then reintroduce him again as just a person, random person, number two at a party that Joanne ends up meeting, and they have really, really good banter. And it's so funny because when they met, Joanne was even like, did you hear there's a rabbi at this party? Oh my God, sounds judgy. And he kind of, Noah was like, I know, kind of playing into that, knowing fully well he is the rabbi. And, it was very fun. And I really enjoyed that because once we found out that Noah was a rabbi, we had kind of established that, oh, we kind of like this guy. He's funny. He, can make like little wine jokes about being a sommelier when he is doing badly at opening a wine bottle. And, it was fun to be able to see. And I thought it was a great way to introduce the character. I also really like the general writing on the show, the way the characters talk. It's obviously not a prestige show. It's not an HBO or a Max show or whatever. It's not for the Emmys, I don't think. And maybe, I don't know, is it for the Emmys? I'm not sure. But I don't think it's a prestige show. And it's also not Emily in Paris. It's not just a random show that doesn't mean anything, that you're just kind of turning your brain off to. It's a very, very solid medium show. And I like the way that they lean into the rom-com aspect by trying to write it as if it's a sitcom but without the laugh track. And that's really, really fun because, like I said already, that Noah and Joanne had great chemistry, so they had really good banter. And then Sasha, who is Noah's brother, and then Morgan, who is Joanne's sister, definitely also get along, and they've got really good verbal exchanges going on, and definitely keeps you as a viewer very, very engaged in what's going on. And it's so funny that Kristen Bell was actually secretly the voice of Gossip Girl. I don't know if this is a secret, but I think I only found out about that a couple of years ago, which is funny because I watched Gossip Girl like nonstop as a kid. But yeah, in episode 5, I think, I remember when they went to the Ojai little Jewish kids camp retreat thing, and Joanne met all this group of girls who were talking about their own like boy troubles, and how Joanne's boy troubles kind of mirrored exactly what their experiences were like, where Joanne's trouble was the fact that Noah wasn't ready to acknowledge her in person because she's a shiksa, or so, like someone who doesn't believe, or someone who is a non-believer or a religious person is a shishka, which I learned from the show, so that's cool. But yeah, he wasn't ready to acknowledge her in person, and the girls kind of making fun of her for that. I don't know why, but I feel like that scene or those scenes definitely reminded me of Gossip Girl. You know how like there are these like random girls, I think there's 2 or 3 of them throughout Gossip Girl, who randomly pop up in certain episodes, and they are definitely fans of the Gossip Girl website. They read a lot about Dan and Serena and Nate and all of the rest of the cast on Gossip Girl, and they've definitely got opinions. And I feel like those girls are supposed to be a representation on the show about the girls, the types of girls that the show is about. And it's so funny because those girls will randomly pop up and they'll have all these opinions and be like, I don't know, like, or like they'll see like Dan or someone walking around New York City and walk up to him and be like, how dare you, Dan, like break Serena van der Woodson's heart or like cheat on her or whatever. And it's so funny because that scene in the like those scenes in the Ojai episode in episode 5 definitely reminded me of those girls in Gossip Girl. I don't know if you guys remember them, but there were some girls in Gossip Girl who would show up and start complaining randomly. I also really like the episode breakdown of the show. That's also something I wanted to talk about. I feel like the show does a very good job. It's got 10 episodes total, and it does a very good job at kind of following the levels or the stages in meeting someone and then getting into a full-on relationship with them. Because the first couple of episodes, they're kind of, Noah and Joanne are just kind of meeting each other, getting to know each other, figuring out the flaws about each other or the things that, causes them to not mesh. And I think it's definitely very, very relatable about kind of meeting people or meeting friends too in general, and then figuring out the things about them that you like and don't like, and the things about the two of you that you can kind of have common ground about. And then as we go on, we slowly see Noah trying to integrate Joanne into his life, and then vice versa. Obviously, Joanne also trying to figure out the best way to integrate Noah into her life, and then trying to, I guess, close that gap between the two of them. And then we see episodes like, Noah meeting the family, Joanne meeting the family, them meeting each other's friends, kind of getting into each other's sports and hobbies and things like that. And I think the show also did a very good job at kind of sectioning out the episodes in a very, very good way, where we're able to focus on one aspect of the start of meeting someone to then being in a full-fledged relationship with them in different levels or in different episodes. So yeah, that was really nice. I also wanted to talk about Noah's mom, Bina. I loved the scenes in the 9th episode with Noah's mom eating the prosciutto, the pork, and 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 Joanne kind of finding her eating that and covering for her, and then being like, this is Bina, my girl, and trying to essentially like blackmail Bina into liking her a little bit. I like those scenes. Those are funny. But that kind of brings me into a little bit of criticism that I've seen about the show. But I also saw a little clip of the creator of the show saying how she feels like regardless, the show would have drawn some sense of criticism online regardless, because of the subject matter and the current climate of the world. I definitely feel like I saw an article that said that the show tries to portray Jewish women as uptight and no fun. And I don't know, I feel like there were definitely some characters that were very fun, like the Ojai episode, going back to that. I forget the name of the actress, but there's this lady who's also a female rabbi, and she was blonde. She makes a blonde joke off the bat about like essentially dyeing her own hair and stuff. And then she seemed fun, she seemed chill, and she's Jewish. And then even the mom, Bina, like I said, with the prosciutto scenes, those were funny and those were fun to watch. Even Esther kind of going around being a little bit of a gossip, and Rebecca kind of talking, smack. I want to use a different word, but this is YouTube. Talking smack about Joanne and Noah's relationship to Morgan. I feel like those are definitely very like flawed traits, and it's not necessarily about being like uptight and trying to be good all the time. And I don't know, but I also do feel like the show is going to draw, like the creator said, the show is going to draw criticism regardless. But I also feel like it's definitely not a religious show. It's more so about the romance and closing the gap between two people's differences. And so if you want, I personally watched the show and I was kind of like, oh, this is an interesting fact. That's cool to know. But I wasn't reading too much into the religious aspects of the show. Overall, I really enjoyed the show. Yeah, it was amazing. And I looked up the Rotten Tomato score. It said it's 95% right now. Amazing for them. I thought that was pretty hard to get. But regardless, the show's amazing. It's fun. It's cool. You can have a little, and the episodes are not too long, so you can kind of have a little like friends night together, share a wine or something, and enjoy everything that's going on screen. But on that note, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to support a small growing YouTube channel. If you want to check out some of my other videos, I made a video on Blink Twice and did some recommendations on some Halloween movie recommendations for spooky seasons, for a spooky season that I just recently posted. Feel free to check those out as well. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. On that note, see you guys some other time. Bye.